streaming now? So, I hope so. Let me double check. Oh, yes, I'm streaming. Yes, we are live, baby. All right, let's do it. Let's do this right. All right, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Because tonight we are still working on Wolverine. At least I am attempting to. I was just discussing about how I was doing stuff, and then I noticed that my stream wasn't working. I swear. Oh man, technology. I had an IT era, definitely. So the music, by the way, hopefully is a little bit lower than it was last time. I did a quick little test to make sure, it's still pretty low. Because last time I did the stream for Wolverine, I ended up being too loud, and I'm still a little paranoid that I might be too loud, so I'm gonna turn that down just a little bit more. But anyway, hello my fellow dreamers and creatives. So tonight, I'm still working on progressing. Hey, hello Blast, good to see you. Welcome to the show. So tonight, I'm still working on this Wolverine. If you guys didn't catch my last stream when I was working on it, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys here. I was really embarrassed. I got it off and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where the anatomy was. I'm like, oh, I feel horrible. And you know, I'm like, why was I showing this? Why I was doing it? So a good cohort of mine reminded me, well, you're showing progression. You're showing exactly what you're telling people every day to get out there to do. Show their work. Give, no matter where you are, you know, because art is a journey. So it's kind of funny when your friends throw your own reliquate back at you. I was like, you know what? That's a good point. I don't draw anatomy a lot. I don't draw tons of muscles and stuff. This is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I haven't done this in years, and this is one of the challenges that I've been trying to do for myself, is to get to the point where I can do more and more. And that's what I keep telling everybody. Every time I stream, every time I record something, every time I put my face out there here in the world on the interwebs, is to get out there and do your art. So, time to put the money where the mouth is, right? Well, let's break this down too. So, what I was saying earlier, since my stream is now working, I noticed when I was looking at this piece, and I wish I had like full time to draw all the time. I really wish I did. But with everything, I do draw like an hour every day for like anatomy studies and stuff, and that's another reason I'm gonna be doing these streams and showing you guys like not the good stuff either, even though it drives me crazy. But what I was looking at on this Wolverine though is that I noticed that his arm it's a great dynamic pose, but it's wrong. This arm is not completely right. There's a little issue here. This foreshortening where he's going back in kind of works, and you can probably kind of get away with that stylistically, but I was like, I don't know. There's some issue stuff here. This needs to be come in and everything, the legs and stuff. I'm like, man, what am I doing wrong? And then I noticed too, the hands were too big. I mean, if it's cartoony and you're doing like in a style like coming out of some of the artists that come out of South America and stuff, they like the really big hands, and I kind of graduated to that. Or I used to, as one cohort told me, I draw a sausage hand, so I have to go back and fix that, you know. So this is where I ended up. So as you guys see, I've been sketching it out, looking at stuff, trying to get my proportions right, trying to get everything together, and I'm like, man, there's just so much, this is a little bit better. It's still not completely there. And if you're wondering what all this is, if you didn't catch the last stream, I was talking about like I wanted to burn off like half his face and have a little bit of the antimonium skeleton showing. So I had him like on fire. And then I was looking through more reference, and I came across the wonderful artist Barry Windsor Smith, who I got to meet years ago when he was doing stuff for Valiant Comics. And I'm like, wow, so he's got him on fire. I'm like, that's pretty cool. That's some nice reference. And then I was also looking at good old Rob Liefeld's Wolverine, because he always I love this one because he's very short and stocky. And that's kind of what I'm going for too, because I like that version of Wolverine better. But yeah, I really did love a lot of what he was doing here with this. So it's like, and I've been looking at other things as well, just trying to bring that out. Because again, I don't draw a lot of muscles and stuff. So this is a whole new experience for me. So, and it's forcing me to grow as an artist, forcing me to get better. And exactly what I tell people all the time to do. But as you guys can see, the hands are a little smaller. It's still the same kind of position. I had to redraw them. Let's get rid of that. But they look a little bit more proportionate. They're still a little big. They may be a little bit too big, but I kind of like them. I don't know. I still like the claws right here. These claws, I feel like they're too wide. You know, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but it's too wide out. You know, so I was like trying to mess around with this and everything. There's still some issues with this arm. It's like it's missing a part, and that's the problem with foreshortening sometimes too. It gets lost if you don't know, and this is another reason why you draw from life, draw from life, draw from life. If I add an actual model, it would have probably been easier. If I was smart enough, I probably should have took a picture of myself doing this pose and used that. But of course, as you guys see, I'm not super ripped. So, but tonight, what I'm going to do with this is that I'm just going to keep working on it and let you guys see the progression. See how I am pushing it, what I'm learning. Feel free to throw things in the chat if you see some. I had some last time when I did the first stream of this, doing this particular character. I had some people say, hey, that jaw is a little weird, isn't it? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good point. So feel free to jump in, say things, tell me what you think. So, but I'm gonna keep rambling if I don't stop here. So I'm looking at it's like, oh, 6 minutes long. I do ramble. It's a little easier when you're doing games, because at least the games, there's stuff going on in the background. So people can see. Oh goodness gracious. So how you doing, Blast? Still blasting out there? Of course he's quiet. He's like, I don't know. Put some highlights in here. I'm probably gonna redraw over this layer again, because this has been like, I'm on, you guys see layer 3 over here. I've been drawing and drawing over this layer, and then I realized too when I was looking at this, I was having problems with the kind of the little fin things, the pointy thing is part of his mask, and I'm like, why didn't I just draw his head first and then come back and add that? Why didn't I? Things you think like that would have been simpler. Just get the head down first and then come back here and do this. Yeah, normally too I would do, you know, you would have cross hatching and stuff, but I'm actually just going ahead and fill it in. Oh, that was a little too much. Oh no, that was the right line, wasn't it? I don't even know anymore. But I guess I'm also used to like inking over a lot of things and, you know, having it more finalized. So, and I've been talking to my cohorts about this too. You know, lately as an artist, I've been on this path where, you know, you go on and we do things for the longest time. You start at one place. Like originally I started out wanting to do nothing but comics, just about. Comics and animation and video games basically, but mostly just comics. And you know, and we grow as we change and stuff. We get other interests, you know, we try different things, not always successful, but I think that's part of being a creator. But then we always end up going back. So I kind of find it interesting that here I am doing comic book characters again, which, you know, it's nice to kind of be back to it. But I've been looking at a lot of little reference for Wolverine. I almost thought too, guys, that I might even just try to get some of the, because normally what I would do is I would take the drawings I would see, especially for a character I wasn't quite aware of or used to, and just kind of emulate that instead of trying to draw my own little figure and everything. But again, I was like, I really want to challenge myself. I want to be able to finally draw whatever comes through my head. And that too is a lifetime journey. Let's see. And if you caught some of my other streams, you know, I talked about using the pen tool a lot, having forced to do that because of various different reasons. And sometimes I still have to go back to it because my hands, they don't like me. That's okay. I'll just have to be like Tex and do it with my feet. I'll have to do this line. But yeah, I was kind of curious. I was right in the middle of shading some of this stuff in. So I was like, let me see how this rose. I want to kind of see how the difference, the variance there. Stop erasing everything. All right, let's zoom out and see that. Yeah, I mean, even though you would need a line to definition of like some kind of highlight or whatever to go there, I mean, you can leave it, but that looks pretty cool, actually. I mean, there is some cool dynamic with this outfit. I mean, it doesn't make sense sometimes in reality. I really like the way they did it with Hugh Jackman in the recent Wolverine Deadpool. I really like the look and the layers upon layers of the suit. You know, that was pretty cool. But yeah. I'm not sure how... I mean, there's just so much to this thing. Yeah, I was experimenting with the idea of ripping his clothes up, tearing it and stuff and everything, but then I drew all these heavy sketch lines, so I'm going to have to redraw it, as you guys see. Yeah, there's just so much. Like, so you can see the difference. Like, this was okay. I mean, it's not terrible, but it could be a lot better. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and knock the opacity down on this and just keep building up like I was talking about before and see what we come up with. See if I can tighten this up a little bit better. You know, I used to draw too, and I need to probably go back to it to a degree, is that I used to do things like, well, let's just do that. I used to do things in blue line. I don't know if you guys know what a blue line pencil is. And when I used to draw on paper and stuff, because I was so heavy-handed, as you guys can kind of see. Control. Why are you not working? Oh, because I'm still on the opacity. I got a better idea. So, in case I mess up what I'm doing here, so, well, oh goodness, dropping my pen. I think you kind of need that. SK copy. All right, so we're gonna duplicate this layer. Even though it's probably gonna change anyway, and I won't use. I mean, like you guys can see, I got paranoid and thought I was gonna mess that up. But I like seeing the progression sometimes, and I can see things where I miss. Like, some of that's pretty strong, so I like that still being there. But I'm gonna get rid of that copy of it. And legs. Oh, I was like, legs? What legs? I don't remember having legs. All right. So, duplicate this layer, and then. See how this rolls. Let's switch it. Let's adjust it to blue, as if I had done it in blue line. Oh wow, that looks interesting. I get distracted. You know, of course we're getting distracted here. Let's see. Let's saturation it up a little bit, just to lighten some of this up, and so I'm not drawing over a straight gray, and it's hard to differentiate between the two. So, kind of an old school animator trick too. And then we'll knock the opacity down on that just a little bit so it's not so pronounced. It's one thing I like about working digital sometimes. But I do need to also show you guys how I do things by hand too, so you guys can see that. Whoa. Oh, I'm on 7. That explains it. But yeah, I was gonna have his hair. Woo. Maybe because I zoomed in, that's why. See, this is one of the downsides about working digital. You can go crazy and zoom in and do stuff and see things a little bit easier, especially for inking, but it's not always a natural progression. you know, especially when you're doing, when you're used to just doing everything in pencil all the time. It's kind of too connected there. I like it, but it just seems like that's more of a stylized. So we need to break that up just a little bit, so it doesn't all appear that way. But yeah, I decided to go with the Wolverine with the big beard and everything too. I'm like, yeah, because I love all those little details and stuff. But it's just been fun. I mean, I'm sitting here, it's been a challenge to do this character. And, you know, I give mad props to people who can pop this stuff out so quickly. I saw this one drawing of a guy on Pinterest, because, of course, when you're doing things, you know, the internet, all the algorithms show you everything. It's like, oh yes, I'm drawing Wolverine, so of course you want to show me artwork of Wolverine. Yes, show me other artists who can do it better than me and make me even more depressed. Thank you. But no, but this guy had done, and I didn't even have a name on it. He was doing, had this very hyper-realistic, very beautiful pencil piece anatomy. And I'm like, wow, that is amazing. But that's the go, right? But I've always been a semi-realistic artist, so I never wanted to completely be realistic. I still like having my own style, but again, you develop that more the more you draw from life. And I definitely will be, y'all will be seeing a lot more of that, especially next week when I will be doing a lot more of these streams. I will be, hopefully, Monday through Friday. I will be, Monday through Friday. I wish I could draw Monday through Friday. But Monday through Wednesday, I'm going to be trying to do some more of these and let you guys see some of my studies and what I've been working on and some of my own characters. And it's October, so I was like, oh man, I have to do the monster thing that I was telling him I was going to do. It's, you know, we got to get some monsters in here, right? You know what, I'm going to go ahead and give him a little bit more right here on the chin. Just kind of break this up a little bit. Also saw another amazing video recently from Wasserman. The artist, the manga artist, I'm probably just butchered his name, so forgive me if I did. He's the guy, the man behind Akira. But my core heart sent me a video of them being interviewed and discussing about the art Doma that he did, the manga, which I see some similarities there on things, but man, the perspective. He had these beautiful perspective lines on this one shot where he did these buildings in this apartment complex, and it literally goes off the page, and he had to have strings to line up to get all the perspective. Where nowadays, some of these programs, you know, digitally, you can just copy and paste, you know, or whatever. It's a little easier to do your perspective, but it was just pretty amazing. And I was like, wow, you talking about having to do things the old way. And he made a good point too, where he was discussing, he even said, you know, digitally you could do this and you don't need to know perspective to do stuff like this now. But the downside about that is that if you don't challenge yourself, if you don't learn the basics of things and try to do something out of not allowing the computer to do it for you, per se, you don't grow. So I was like, man, that's a very good point, because, you know, yes, we can do a lot of things digitally a lot easier now, you know, on certain things, but having the basic fundamentals is always a good thing, you know, because if I had my fundamentals a little bit more down, I might not have been able to, I wouldn't have to worry about having some of this wrong, if that makes sense, guys. At least initially. Wow, that's a lot of lines. I'm getting some Rob Liefeld lines there. It's some Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Cyber Fire lines there. I don't know if I like that. I do like all the, you know, But you got to me, I gotta use that sparingly, or you just gets too busy, especially with my style. Oh my god, I do enough details on things as it is. I love details. I love putting details in everything, and that was another reason why I like Akira, especially the main. There's just so much detail in his work. Oh, it's amazing. Just all the realistic stuff in there, and just all these little things. But unlike me, he has a better balance of like he can put all these details in, but he doesn't get overloaded with. You know, it doesn't get really heavy. It doesn't get busy. It doesn't get so messed up that you can't. It's all just a whole bunch of gibberish and scribbles. You know, kind of some stuff I've shown in the past, with like that golem I gotta fix. You know, it's like you can go crazy with it. So, but he's got a nice blend of positive and negative space. Definitely one of my favorite artists, just like a lot of comic book artists. I love a lot of comic book artists, and a lot of animators as well. Just so many people nowadays that I kind of enjoy. Alright, so I'm probably going to pull up that I don't think my hand's going to let me do that, but we're going to try. I know I was using the pen tool just like a second ago. Sometimes I don't have a choice. It just depends on how my hand wants to work for the day. So, but like I said, like I tell people, no matter what your limitation, disabilities, whatever, you keep finding ways around it. You use what works for you. I want to draw more of those lines. I know I don't need to, but I want to. Yeah, I was trying to also have like, I'll have to look at my muscles and stuff and the veins. I was trying to have like some muscle tone in there too, where it was coming through, if that makes sense. Where you see underneath, because he's definitely going to be battle damaged. I like that. I like that concept. I know it's been done. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Ah! Come on, work with me. Alright. Are we going to stroke that? That went a little farther. I know I did it a little different. That's another thing too, chat. You know, when you're doing this stuff, and I was hearing about that too, and thinking about, you know, especially when you're refining stuff and everything, you should have fun with what you're doing. And just enjoy it. And of course you're going to keep doing that unless I put an anchor point there. I don't want it to be blah, blah, blah. I want it to be something else. I want it to be a little bit more pointy, please. Thank you. Let's get that down just a little bit more. Yeah, I wanted that to be a little bit more curved there. I didn't like how, I don't know, just something about that just didn't feel right. I can't always explain. Sometimes it's just, you know, when something looks wrong and then something doesn't. But, you know, sometimes there's a personal preference too. Oh, I drew right through that. Look at that mess. Ah! That stupid pinto. I gotta go through and take all this out. Ruin all my nice line work. Ah! It's okay. We'll just put this back in. Y'all didn't see that. Nobody saw that. It's okay. That's what I tell people too. It's like, I had an artist recently talk about, I'm thinking there's a cover on his nose. I need to look at some reference real quick. But it's just like, oh man, I just get worried that people are going to see something. I'm like, well, you know, you could be like me and literally be online. Streaming to the world and let them see everything, and he was like, you know what, that's a good point. I'm kind of glad I'm not doing that. You know, I know that's. I was thinking maybe I could get away with doing a little bit of the cover and showing the nostril. I don't know. I might experiment with that a little bit more later. But I do want to get some of these lines in. That's looking okay. He's definitely more feral, as it were, with the big beard on the side, but I don't know. It's kind of what I was going for. Oh man, it's coming together, slowly but surely. See if we can fix that a little bit, curve that in more, get rid of that. But yeah, I do definitely need to get to my pencil again. I'm kind of curious from the transition from doing this, like how much of a difference that would be. But again, it's been pretty close, but having to use the old Wacom and looking at the television set here to get this right is a interesting perspective. But I'm used to being zoomed in this close when I'm inking per se, and you know, putting Defiant. And I wouldn't really call myself an inker because inkers are amazing, but I do like the black and white. It's like more refining it, I think, for me. Like, you know, cleaning it up, making it shine out. And yes, if you think that inking is nothing but tracing, you are wrong. Because I know some inkers that would put you to shame for that. That is an art form, most definitely. I don't know how I feel about that. Just trying to think of how that would look. Let's get our reference and be smart and pull up the skull that we have. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it, chat? Bones? Oh, is it hidden behind my body anatomy here? Oh yeah, it's right over there. Again, this is another thing too that I normally would, I don't know, sometimes I have stuff here and I don't have everything like I did last time, but normally I would switch back and forth and look at it that way because I don't like too many things on my screen, you know, or on my paper while I'm looking. Or I have actual reference that I would put. Ooh, I think I moved the camera. Oh, let me double check the stream there when I was moving that. Oh, okay, we're good. But yeah, I think that I would have reference over here. I have a little thing that stands up for paper, and I usually look at that. But I want you guys to see what I'm doing and what I'm using, so y'all can see, okay, that's how he was figuring that out. That's how he was doing that. You know, so if it helps you in some way, great. Or for you guys who don't draw, that watch this stuff later and just enjoy watching drawing, as I had one came in recently, then hopefully you see how things come together. So we're gonna do something a little bit different. And I swear when I was drawing the skull earlier, when I was messing around with sketching, all I could think about was good old Ghost Rider. I'm like, oh man, I still gotta do that Ghost Rider piece. I owe somebody a good Ghost Rider piece. I really do. So we got half the nose here. Yeah, see, this is going to be the interesting part. It's like, normally I would, you know, put it over here, and you would have it. So I'm wondering if I can, but I want to show right here, you know, where that is, where the, because you know, your nose isn't really a part of your skull. So I want to sit here and wonder if I could get that right there. But that still looks a little heavy, right? Right, chat? So I don't think that's going to be right. So we'll probably have to do the same thing as I was doing with the eye, where we don't have that heavy line there. So let's just figure out how we're going to do that. Yeah, I changed the music up a little bit tonight too. So we're going to have a little bit of some easy listening type stuff, Gotta break it up a little bit and a little bit more funky stuff in case I put you guys to sleep from rambling. Yeah, that's coming out well. Especially like the little indication here, you know, we might. And I definitely gotta have a little bit of a shine since his skull, his exoskeleton, you know, his skeleton literally is metal. So that's going to be an interesting way of doing things as well, having to figure that out. But again, I gotta look at some other reference too to try to figure out how to show it regenerating and come up with some really cool idea, you know, way of doing that. You know, I mean, since it's not animated, but just the indication of it. Yeah, I think that line was way too. Well, just a silly hand. See, and when I get nervous, or when I'm trying to put a line down and I'm uncertain, that's how I get heavy-handed. So I've been going back and watching some of these, going, huh? So seeing my own habits that you normally don't think about. It's kind of like streaming yourself when you're playing games and you're trying to see what you're doing wrong. You know, like how did I like, especially like first-person shooters or whatever. Like how did I miss that shot? You know. And then you can go back and watch that. So another thing I've been doing too, I want to show you guys and make sure it's in the camera. One of my cohorts let me borrow his Avengers GLA book that is George Perez. I love George Perez. I love how he could put work together and all these wonderful characters. So he had a little effect here for Captain America's shield that I wanted to double check, emulate. It came to mind, but I couldn't think of it. I'm like, how is that drawn again? How did old George do that? Ah, okay, I see. So, what's before I do that, so we could do it. Yeah, like this little shiny effect, like it was like shining. But I don't know if I'm actually going to use that. I might go with more of a Silver Surfer type effect on it. I don't know. Like I said, I might have to look at a lot of metal. I might have to really pay, you know, have a lot of reference to go through that. If, you know, if I was just drawing the character, I probably could get away with some things and just draw it just like the original copy where it was just him standing there. But since I'm adding all this other stuff, because, you know, can't do it easily, right? So it's going to be a lot of reference on this piece. But at least you guys get to see it. You get to see the progression. You get to see how things work. Yada, yada, yada. Can you ramble on any more, Jeremy? I don't know. Maybe I can. Maybe I can ramble more. I have all this fire. Why is he on fire? I don't know. Somebody hit him with a plasma thing. Somebody set him on fire. I don't know the story just yet, but I just thought it was cool. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we're having problems. All right, thank you. Let's not do that to me. Thank you. I'm gonna have so many of these to add to the stream description too. I used a lot more of Kevin MacLeod's music tonight. I used to only have like a few of them, so I didn't have to write so many or try to remember them. But finally, I made a playlist, so I took the time to do that at least. Trying to keep my hand loose, but it wants to grip because of my it shakes so bad. But I'll get it. And would y'all be surprised I actually did that without the pen tool? So I had this like shoulder pad. Let's see if I can emulate it again. Nope. It's like, nope. So I only did like part of it though, because I think that the coloring will, the flames over there will cover some of that up, you know, or block some of it. Plus, it's so symmetrical as it is, just breaking some of that up kind of helps. But it's like I said in the last stream over this, even the most simple of characters like Mickey Mouse or outfits like Wolverine or superhero outfits are very deceptible, very deceiving in their simplicity. Good old speech impediment kicking in there. Oh, let's see that. We got some more flames. We don't have anything over here flying. We'll go back and look at this a little bit more. Maybe a little bit of there. I don't want to put too many cross hatches because again, well, since we are doing metal, and metal normally would have like some kind of weird, you know, blob or whatever. I've seen different ways of handling it where you have, but I'll have to look at stuff again. If I'm drawing by memory, I'm not going to achieve that. Alright, let's put... Yeah, it's kind of coming together. You know, it's a process. It's definitely a process. But we'll see how it goes. Say not as I do. We'll go back and look at Barry's. So he's got a lot of definition on the shadows of the muscles, but I also wonder if he was doing that to as the shading part to try to differentiate with the fire and whatnot that made it very heavy. At least that's what I'm assuming. I mean, Wolverine already has all these wonderful lines, these hairlines and stuff there, so it kind of works out to a degree. I got this right here. Looks like I got some little hairs and stuff here, flames. I'm not sure what I was. Must have accidentally did this line at some point. Yeah, we're gonna put some flames on the side of the skull too. Terminator. Can you imagine Wolverine and Terminator? Man, that would have been crazy. He would cut that thing in two. I don't know about the new ones though, but it would be an interesting fight, especially with the regeneration ability that he has. You know, I think that's one thing I love about characters like Wolverine. They have like the healing factor type thing where you can just you can do so many things to them story-wise and drawing-wise, and you're like, okay, you know, you can accept it easily because, oh, he has a healing factor, you know. I mean, there is some points where it gets unbelievable, like when they've done stuff in the comics where he gets his head blown off, you know, and it regenerates his head or something like that. That's more supernatural to me, you know, that's more like demonic. Like I can see Ghost Rider or something doing like that, but Wolverine, nah, I think once the brain is gone, that would be it. So, but then again, I like changing things. Oh yeah, I like this little line here. Let's just put that back there. So we had some layers. Alright. Let's get to these fingers. Yeah, hands are always fun, right? Yeah, see, that looks better already since I just panicked because it was way too skinny. Right there. No, he's going to be like right there. And I'm trying to picture too because he has those gloves, you know? So it's like you're not going to see all of the definition. I don't know. Again, I like using models or actual reference of people. So, because it does make it easier. But I also like to challenge myself. Kind of sausage handy there. It's kind of too flat. It does. I don't think it tapers off enough. Why am I? Okay, not magic wand. Thank you. Like I said, I am still doing a little bit of a stylize on his hands. Kind of like I still got M. Bison from Street Fighter Alpha in my mind for some reason. I guess because they did such a well design, but his hands were really big, you know. Rotate? Which a rotator? Yeah, I don't like that. See, and actually too, that's wrong. So if we were looking at that, we see it there, this would bend out a little bit more. So we would see a little bit of that bump there. So, and unfortunately it's the hand that's my drawing hand, so, but let's see if we can fix that. That's way too out there, so it's more of a wide arc and it needs to come in, so let's fix that. And this is another thing about it's good about turning your paper, as it were. You'll see things sometimes easier because, you know, from this angle, right, from this angle it looks kind of correct, but if you were to turn it, that's when you also can see, because it's flat, it's level in a sense, and your mind associates that. And it's like, oh, there's some issues there that you may have not noticed before. So, let's see. So I want to draw this right here. I got this thing. So, alright. You see that good? I'm about to do this a lot. So let's just do it this way. See if we can fix that. Let's just take the thumb out for now. Just do our basic construction. Okay, so that of course looks a little bit right. Of course the thumb is going to be out a little bit more, but it wouldn't be, I don't think, that far. I still might be wrong by that, but I think it would actually be for here. You know, it would be closer than where I had it. So, and then we'll bring that out a little bit here, bring that out. So, and then we can fix this arm. Now, let's reset the view. And let's zoom that out. Well, this is still a little big because of what I just did. So we can fix that a little bit. This is still a little big too. And I think that would be more there. And this is all part of it too, chat. you know, if you guys, like, it's a process. You just keep building and building and building as you go along, you know, and we're making those adjustments as you need, as you put it all together. So, I mean, I thought I had these hands a little bit more right. Obviously, I still had to work on them some more. So, and normally I would like to put that on a different layer. What happened? What did I just do? Something happened here. Oh, that was already cut off. I'm so silly. I was like, why is his legs? I thought I had erased all that somehow. Let's see. Yeah, it looks a little stronger. Still needs some definition on that, but we'll come back to that because I definitely gonna have to hold my hand for a while. But we'll try to do this side for a little bit and see how that rose. We'll get this anatomy here correct. That needs to go like that. Yeah, I didn't know if I wanted to keep the rectangle belt. I also really like the circle belt, but I think I might keep it as the rectangle just for this for now. Just to get that in my head. Okay. I don't like that. I want that to be one nice little stroke there. Okay. Put a little bit of indentation there. Yeah, I don't think we need those lines. Going crazy with the cross hatching. Alright. Okay, so let's define this again. We're going to start right here. This is such a very strong shape. Going to use my pin tool. And we're going to stroke that just to define that better. So I don't have to worry about trying to draw that at this close, at least, too. Zoomed in this far. I didn't mean to do that. Please stop. Okay. So. It's coming together. I don't know if... Now I'm looking at it. So we got this that comes out that way, right? So I wonder... Let's bring up some of our Wolverine reference. And see what we can see. Alright, so that shoulder pad actually doesn't curve up. Maybe I went too far. You might not see all this that I'm looking at right now. Looks like it goes further down. Maybe it goes a little wider than that. Because you still have this space where the yellow's right here from the little marks on this one. Let's look at some other ones real fast. So this one has two lines, a little space, where it kind of curves over, but this is not the metal one. This is a part of the outfit. So that's a whole different one that Ramos did there. Look at Liefeld. He doesn't even have the shoulder pads on this one. Of course not. And of course you're on fire. Well, I still think that since this one's going out more and it's curved back and it's lifting up, we probably would see, I think it would actually not be that close in. So let's take it out and we'll just see what happens when we... See, that doesn't even look right anymore. That looks a little closer, where you see more of it. Well, let's do our rotation. So, let's try this. Let's get rid of the pin. Yes, I know. I just want to get rid of it. Oh, of course, you're doing that now. Alright. B. Let's just get rid of it. Let's get another layer. I'm going to start experimenting a little bit. Let's see if we can... I can figure out that better. Something just doesn't look right. I mean, this looks correct. So it's like... I know it's going to be up. Ah. Maybe over there. A little bit more like that. Alright. Like we go in a little bit so we can kind of see it curve in. That has like that one little line, the definition, that shows some more depth. Alright, let's get rid of that. Yeah, see, that looks a little bit better. But again, I don't know if it's correct, per se. So it'll be one of those other things I'm just going to have to go back and kind of look at and see if I like it or not. You know, if it's matches up, you know, correctly. But it seems a little bit better. It seems to flow a little bit more right here. Huh. I don't know. So, that means we're going to come here. Well, whoops. Didn't do that. Alright, so let's put this underneath because I don't want to drum. I'm going to see if we can get these muscles right. Do some better sketching here. Yeah, the other problem with this too is like, since I am going for like the short and stocky, it's gonna be a little bit different. But again, it's still got it to be atomically correct to a degree. It's got to look like it belongs. So even if you're doing something stylized, like I've always been told, you know, if you're doing something that's a little bit not a normal human body per se, you still got to have that anatomy down so you can make it believable, you know, or fake it, as it were. Alright. Zoom out on there. I guess also too, what also throws me off is these gloves that go so far back, like almost to his they go back to his elbow. still feel like that bicep right there is just so massive. I don't know if that's right or not. I feel like this should be coming out more because of that. Let's get this out here. This is my Legacy 717 theme song that was made by my cohort, Dwayne Muse. I like it. It's like, got that kind of 80s feel. Come on. Draw through the figure correctly. Just look. So here's the hand. We'll go that route. So that means this hand is in the wrong location, I believe. Since I'm seeing it now by, putting down my construction. So I think the hand's kind of right. So what I could do is try to, get rid of this, work on defining this hand on a different layer, then move it to try to get it correctly, lined up. Which is probably what I'll end up doing. But this is still driving me crazy up here. It's like something. Okay, so we go there. It would be here. Yeah, it's just like it's not wide enough. Again, foreshortening. Wow, he looks like the the Wolverine from X-Men Apocalypse. When Ventura was drawing him. There we got the no hand. Okay, so let's get clear of that layer. I want to work on that hand because I do believe the hand is mostly proportionally right. Maybe a little bit big there, so let's make it a little smaller on the thumb. on. Okay. That's definitely wrong. Oh, alright, so we got that hand there. Alright, let's go back to 7. And let's see if we can move this hand over a little bit. Let's get rid of the layer underneath for a second. maybe... Oh. That's not... I think that was also usually turned. Okay. I didn't mean to do that, but as Bob Ross would say, happy accident. Okay. Let's go back to here. Okay. Now we're gonna zoom out. Yeah, I mean, that seems a little closer. It's definitely a lot better than it was. I mean, it's still very handy, it's very sketchy, so it's got to be refined, of course, you know, but I think that does help with the overall copy with it. So, yeah. Let's get rid of... Let's see. Oh! Alright. Which one was that under? Oh, okay. I'm thinking the blue underneath me is was there, but yeah, definitely stronger. So, I mean, the blue over here is distracting, so what I might do, since I know that I feel this is more correct, and again, what I will have to do is go back and fix it as I go. But this is why, too, I make copies of my progress, so I can go back and see if I make the wrong mistake. If I go, oh, I wish I hadn't done it, but I don't remember how I did that. Like, why did I make this choice or whatever? That was the one thing nice about digital that I can do. I can go back and look at it and go, oh, that's why I did that. That's why I made that choice. You know, or, oh, I can fix what I, you know, it was like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. Now I gotta fix it. You know, I can go back and go, okay, I can look at what I did and make that correction and save me some time. So again, this feels like it should be. I got a bloody stink bug. Been having problems with those things coming in my apartment. You're driving me crazy. One moment, chat, while I get rid of the stink bug. Come here. No, don't fly away. Ooh. He'll be back. They always come back. But yeah, I do think that his hands look a little bit better. They're a little bit more fine. They're still gonna have to have some better definition. Gonna have to straighten them out a little bit. But if he puts his hand over your face like this, your hand literally covers most of your face, and that's a good way to kind of say, okay, that hand looks like it would just cover a portion of the front of your face, not your whole head. So, but if you're doing something that's a cartoon character or whatever, then you can kind of get away with that. And I used to use that as an excuse back when I was drawing, when I was younger. I would say, oh, it's a cartoon character. I can do that, right? Well, yes, you can. But if you learn real life anatomy, you can make that look even better. So again, chat, that has been my goal with this. To come out of a lot of my comfort zones, to try and just keep pushing my skill set. Instead of repeating the same things that I've done in the past. You know, to grow. Just to keep on growing. And hopefully one day I'll be able to do all this stuff straight from memory. I don't know. I think this is going to be more of the cloth than the fire. So I'm going to just kind of put that there. I'm looking at these the muscle forms over here, where your muscle tissue would be. So I'm trying to see how would I layer that if I wanted to put that in. Don't want to overdo it, but just to show a little bit, like, yeah, there's some muscles here where he's regenerating. So I might clear some of this out too, just to kind of get that in there. Oh, that's on a different layer. that's on the layer we were doing. So let's go with this and just put a little bit, like he has some, still those little hairs. But let's see if old Legacy can pull this off, where it's like the astral muscles to a degree. Not too many lines, I think, because too many lines will just get too heavy. But just enough where I can kind of like just show that, you know. So you got the whole face gone here where the metal skull will be. You got a little bit of the muscle structure. You know, you got the ripped cloth. You got some of the flames and stuff. So, yeah, I think it's going to come together pretty well. I like this, too. I mean, and again, they're just little crosshatch lines. I mean, it's just fake little lines. That all gibberish of lines that come together to make a piece. I love it. It's the beauty of art. Oh, look at that! Well, look at me. I'm actually getting it right. Because this was wrong. And that's the one good thing about actually drawing and doing these things. You get to see how much you know. You get to see what you have learned. And you're teaching your mind and the muscle memory you need to be able to keep drawing and keep doing this stuff without having so many things. But it also allows you to grow, because I know artists, and we've been talking about this with I've been seeing a lot of artists on like YouTube talking about AI. And yes, I am one of those people that I don't know how I feel about AI. I know that if you use AI to, let's say, as the person did in Dragon Con this year and tried to claim it as their own work and sell it to you as their work, I have a problem with that. I have a major problem with that. If you use AI per se to use it as a template, I don't know, because you know, back in the day too, we had people when Photoshop was getting more and more capable of doing stuff. You know, you had people doing what we would call mocaps, where they would take screenshots of video games, or they would take screenshots of, like I saw an artist on DeviantArt back in the day, of all places, who was taking the screenshots from Blade Runner, which is an amazing set design and aesthetic, and claiming it as their own. And they were just kind of drawing over that. And, you know, it was more photo manipulation than it was an art. And then the artist also went and did a Zelda, took Link to the Past, Zelda 3, and tried to, and painted over it using that as a starting point. And again, I'm kind of torn by that. There's such thing as rotoscoping. There's such thing as, you know, using certain things. And I'm all about, you use the tools available to you. You know, however you gotta do your art. But in a pure sense, you're also, I think if you're just relying on AI or any program or template, you're not learning enough. You're not going to grow. Like, I could easily pop this in, probably on some AI program, ChatGPT or whatever, and have it draw it for me, you know, as some artists do, which it would be perfect. But is it right to do that? Is it using to, like, I have been experimenting where I would say, draw, you know, show me if this is the right anatomy, or change the photo manipulation. Like, I'll show you guys real quick what I'm talking about. Let me bring that up. So I do a lot of I also do photo editing. Oh wow, it disappeared completely. Give me 1 second, chat. I'll get that fixed. Where is it? Where did I put it? Oh, I'm so terrible. So, for instance, let me go ahead. I'll just open this in Photoshop. a shot. Okay. Hopefully, we're still check the stream. Yep, we're good. So, I've had a few buddies experimenting with AI, seeing what it can do and everything. One artist who took his art and had it do it realistically and made it a realistic character. And it was really close. It was really interesting. I'm like, that's pretty neat. But I still have my concerns about this because you're still trying to get to the point you're going to replace artists. So that picture that you guys are seeing, and I was trying to find the other one real quick, which of course it doesn't want to open through here, so we're going to do. So I was curious. So one of my cohorts gave me. Oh, I didn't want that right there. This is from my friend who's a big Lego fan, right? And he gave me these little Lego toys. That he kind of put together, you know, had the hunter from Halo and everything. I was like, that's pretty cool. So I was like, hey, ChatGPT, put this in a sci-fi setting for me and put all that together. And I was like, huh, that's interesting that it chose this variety, this effect, which is nice and everything. But again, look at the legs. They're wrong. You know, I mean, they're not correct. So it's still got some issues, which just doesn't really look like it's running anyway, so we just assume. But I am finding it fascinating that it's getting smarter and smarter about how it does things. No, I don't want you to say that. But it's still not ready to overtake us just yet as artists. It's getting better, but I know people who have probably used it just like when I started drawing back in the day of comics, I had comic book artists that I would meet at conventions tell me, you know, if you want to learn how to draw comics, start tracing. Trace over an artist's work that you like and everything. And I was like, well, that seems wrong. It's like, well, that's how you learn the structure. But again, I've talked about this before, where if you just trace people's stuff, you end up emulating and taking on their mistakes that you may have not done on your own. So with AI, I know people are probably going to be doing that a lot. You know, they might be using it as a template. Like I had a thing do, like, check my anatomy. If it's something like that where you're trying to get it to check something, like even with this one, like I was looking at it, and I'll show you guys on that. This is the reason why I was bringing all this up. Let's get rid of the bodybuilder. And I like to, so I asked it to double check my anatomy on this picture, on the original sketch. This is what it gave me. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of correct. You know, I see a little bit there, some of the proportion and stuff. Okay, I get that. But he's still going to be hunched over a little bit more than what you're showing. And then you gave me 5 fingers over here. But then you gave me the turtle hand over here, basically. So, again, it doesn't always understand. And it's like, this is more right. Well, this is more dynamic to me. I'm not going for him holding a sword or whatever. But something like that, I'm like, okay, as a quick reference or something to kind of get an idea. But again, I wouldn't rely on this. I wouldn't rely on an AI to tell me if something is right or not, because this also limits you as an artist of what you're capable of doing. Now there's more of a neck here on that, you know, I'm more hunched over, I may need to add a neck or whatever. So it's just like looking at this right here. This is from a medical journal that I got reference of somebody really big. They had the short and stocky, and it's where the muscles and stuff are formed. Somebody put it as a 3D model. So that's interesting. There's still a little artistic license with that. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really certain how I feel. I'm all in believing you use stuff as tools. It's a tool, you use it, but don't let it be your art. Don't let it make your art for you. And definitely don't try to use AI to sell your art to somebody. You know, I mean, and I know there's some artists too that are doing that right now. You know, they'll having, like, again, they'll have the art there, and you know, it's like, oh, I want you to show me how this could look or whatever. And I'm curious to see how you guys would think about that. How you guys judge the AI. I know there's a lot of us out there like, oh, destroy it all. But this stuff is not going away. And I do believe that if it's used properly as a tool, as is like I'm using the pen tool here, or maybe as in I'm using a protractor or a template sphere or whatever to do my circles, or, you know, triangle, a T-square, you know, or like Ultima with the strings. There's tools to use to improve yourself as an artist. Is AI going to be that? To some degree, possibly, yes. To other degrees, I think it's going to cause some problems. I do believe that companies out there are going to try to use AI, definitely, to save themselves money and cut out as much of paying artists as they can. You know, let me make sure I'm on the right layer before I get back on that. Because, you know, they're companies. They're in it to make money. So if they can find a way to get stuff cut and cut out artists and save themselves a buck, I mean, hell, they've already tried to do that with AI in general, with writing. And as a writer, I mean, it insults me a little bit. But I don't know. It's definitely a conversation I would like to discuss more with people about, and to see their thoughts on it and how they feel about this whole process, and just go into that. You know, it's like we again, this problem of AI is not going to go away no matter where you are on the fence of that. But I think we need to be aware of how much we can allow AI to dictate to our artists on things, and also trying to train people to do different things, and not, like I said, use it as a tool, not as your work. But again, I'd like to know what you guys think about that. You know, you guys who are watching this now, you guys who are going to watch this later, because I'm very fortunate enough to have people who come back and watch my streams later, and thank you for that. I know that not everybody is available with the time frame that I have for the schedule, but I do greatly appreciate you watching, and I hope you get something out of it. And again, if you do miss the streams and you do have comments or stuff you would like to say to me, feel free to contact me. You can contact me on talktomelegacy717 on my email, talktomelegacy717@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on any one of my social media platforms. You can send me messages there, because I do want to get to know people. I want to know my community. I want to know what you think about stuff, because as I said before, it's not just about me. It's about building a community around artists and trying to help us all become better, and also helping unsung artists reach their potential, reach an audience. Because honestly, if I had the money, I would literally have a con set up for unsung artists, where companies, talent hounds, people could come in. And I've said this to people before, but I've never said it publicly on an online platform. But I think that would be great. You know, over in Japan, you have kind of, I don't know what it's called, but I don't know if they're still doing it. But I remember reading something about it years ago, where they have this manga convention where it's only for manga artists that are not yet established. That means they don't have a contract, they don't have a deal, they're not working for somebody. And I'm like, wouldn't that be great here in the States to have a expedition hall type thing for artists that you did not know, that you have no idea who they are, and allow them the opportunity to meet editors, to meet other artists, to meet established artists, to give them pointers, or if the very least, even if they're not good enough to work in the field, or not what that client employer is looking for, at least they can meet other people and meet potential fans that can help them grow. Because I think that's a lot of it too, where art is, you know, it's so hard. We never feel like we're good enough. But to have someone come back and give you a little support, or people who say, man, I really enjoy your work, that does go a long way. Getting paid for it goes further, but I'll tell you that. But it does help. But yeah, that's the kind of things I want to see, and that's what I've been wanting to talk about a lot too out there in the on the internet. It's like, these are the kind of things I want to do. Like last night, I had a I don't know who they are. I don't know if they're he, she, they, whatever. Doesn't matter. I was playing Wizard 1. I had a little impromptu. They saw me. They hopped on the stream. They saw me playing. And they were like, hey, I want to play. I can help you get through Mount Olympus. And I was like, sure, get on. They're like, really? Yes, really. I don't know why y'all so surprised. Maybe because everybody else doesn't put up, doesn't want to deal with that. That's not what they're here for. But I am here for community. I'm here to connect with people. That's what I want to do. No, I'm not going to be able to connect to everybody. No, I'm not going to be able to play with everybody. No, I'm not going to be able to do everything I would like to do. But I'm going to at least make the attempt. Because to me, you're more than just a number. You're more just somebody that's casually watching or whatever. You're, as I tell people, if you see on my Facebook, all the place, you matter. I really do believe that. Why I'm on this soapbox right now, I don't know. But I guess I just needed to get to say all that. I don't know why. Anyway, let's get back to this art. Enough rambling. That's why I always say on my thing, enough rambling. Let's do some art. Because Lord knows, I ramble. Okay, so if that goes back in there. But yeah, growing, like I said, I really have been wanting to push myself a lot more these past few years in growing as an artist. I was just talking about that with a buddy of mine who came by. We were talking about, man, wouldn't it be nice? We hear people all the time like, how did these comic book guys or this guy get all this artwork done so quickly, and they got all this going on? How did they do that? One, they practice a lot to get where they are, and they've learned a lot. That's true. That's a big part of it, because you got to practice, you got to put in the time. You at least, I get people asking, well, how do I get better at my art? How do I get to where your level is? Well, hopefully you're going to get past where I am, because I still need to get better. But you really need to take the time as an artist every day, or at least 5 days a week, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. I do this every day, regardless of what I'm doing. I sketch something, I draw something, I'm looking at reference, I'm doing stuff from life. I draw all the time. That's the only way you're going to get better. That's how you get better. That's how you get stuff going along, and you got to take it seriously. But again, if you're just doing it as a hobby, and you're not trying to do things professionally, or you're not worried about reaching this plateau, which I think is partially true for some hobbyists and partially not true, if that makes sense. I think there is people who always want to get better at it, but you gotta just put in the time. It's like everything else. You just got to take the time to do it. But what was I talking about? I got on that tangent now. Community. Yes, I do believe in, no, we already talked about community. Talking about art, my buddy. Oh, yeah, we were talking about that, drawing and putting stuff together. But also, one of the things, too, you got to keep in mind that I had to remind myself today was these artists that you see who do it full time are also able to do it full time, if that makes sense. Whereas if you were spending 8 hours every day and this was your regular job as an artist, you would get better real quick. So that's another thing to keep in mind about chat. That the more time you put into it, the better you're going to get. But if you're trying to reach, like me, trying to reach a level where you're doing this professionally and getting paid for it all the time and not having to have a regular job, then when you get to that point, yeah, you're going to get better. You're going to get faster. I've met tons of artists through the years who got into like comics or video games or whatever, and they were pretty decent, or they had some really good skill, and then they grew leaps and bounds simply because they were working all the time. So even if you're not able to work, like I said earlier in the stream, I love to be able to work all the time. I would love to be able to draw every day, 8 hours a day, if I could. because to me it's not work, it's fun. You know, there's some frustration, but every little bit tonight, even this little hour, almost what we're going in almost 2 hours right now, this is going to help me grow. This is going to help me get better. You know, every day I draw, I'm learning more stuff. Like I said, I'm learning more about Nami and myself, you know, every single bit. So just stay at it. Don't stop. That's why I keep telling you, go out there and do some art, whatever it is. It's like I know if there's muscles and stuff here. All right. Interesting. I mean, I wonder too if it would be like if I were to ink over this and go through all this and then make this black almost with coloring, like, or maybe like a brownish red or whatever, like it's burned. So I don't know. I do like how it's coming together. I'm not happy still with it, but you know, there are some pieces as an artist that you'll do that you're like, oh man, this is so great, this is like the best thing ever, and then like 2 days later you look at it and you go, I hate it. That's just like, I could have done that better, I could do this, you know. And then there's some artists, I got some buddies who don't care. So I'm just kind of looking over it. As I said before, it's always good to step back a few moments, take a look at what you're doing, take the piece overall, see what mistakes and stuff you're making, see what you need to improve to take it as a whole. And I'm seeing some things like up here, like I still think we got some issues with the shoulder. Like, yeah, I think that neck is going to have to be there. I think we're going to see some of that there. Maybe not a lot of it because he's so short and stocky, but I feel like his back right here wouldn't be that far up. Now, we also have the problem with, you know, this right here with the thing would cover up some things too, the part of the mask. I think I'm gonna go ahead and fix that because I see it. Again, this is why you zoom out. This is why you take your piece, you walk away. If you're painting, you walk away from it. You do what you can to just improve. Because if you keep going and going, sometimes that can be worse. And since I haven't been working on this as much as I like, because I'm trying to be better about that with this, I'm trying to be like, no, I'm not going to work on this one. I'm not going to get it done completely, because if I do, then people won't see all the progression. So I have to show that so you guys can see all that. But yeah, see, that just feels a little bit better. Just, I don't know, just feels a little bit like correct. And when I say correct is also one of those kind of subjective type things. But yeah, I do think he was too far up. I think that back, right here on the back of the shoulders, were just too far back out. I probably should get my mannequins out. I got these great mannequins from China that you can pose and stuff, but even that doesn't always work. Like I said, I have a lot of little stuff I've used through the years to kind of build my anatomy and stuff and my knowledge, and I'm on the eraser. Try to see that. Huh. Okay. So, I want those sticky bones. Right? How you doing tonight there, Silent Joe? Wait a minute, so what were you trying to say? I want those sticky bones? Okay, bones. Okay. It just showed up. Yeah, I love when autocorrect, well, with my speech impediment, try to, it loves when I do like audio stuff. Oh my god, when it does like audio to text. Oh, there's some funny stuff that comes out of that. From what I've seen. trying to picture where all that would be. And again, we've got some problems. I have to erase that out. Got these big ass legs. No, I have not seen the ads for Sticky Bones. What is Sticky Bones? You're gonna have to enlighten me on this. He's like, oh, I guess you're gonna text that to me later. They're models maybe from anatomy drums. The articulation on those things seem to be. Oh no. Okay. No, I have those. You know which ones I have, which are pretty decent. I really enjoyed those, but I haven't used them in a while. But they're more of a mannequin, not really anatomy. Huh. I'll have to check that out. Definitely we'll have to check that out. But, you know, as I was saying too, it's like, you know, a lot of it just still comes down to just studying anatomy and drawing it. As you guys can see, I'm using this as reference here, just trying to put this together. No, you're not going to see all this because that's not all going to be there. Because as you're going to have some indication, because of course we don't see all of our muscles, but they use magnets to stay in place. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I got those. Mine don't have magnets. I bet they're pretty expensive. How expensive are they? $100. Yep, I had a feeling you were going to say 100. I figured that's how expensive they were going to be. Jeez. It's so expensive to be an artist, isn't it? It is hard. That's why we're starving artists, because we have no money. But again, chat, that's tool sets. You know, you don't need all that stuff to draw. You don't even need a computer. All you need is a pencil and a piece of paper. And a lot of determination. So, hey, and I'm not drawing on all the layers. Also, that'd be great. I'd love to see that. And for you guys that are not aware, Silent Joe is one of my moderators and is an artist himself. He's one of my longest cohorts. He'll actually be coming to town here soon, and we're going to be doing some recording showing his artwork and his puppeteering and everything, because he's a puppeteer. Does some pretty amazing stuff. You can catch his stuff on TikTok and everything. I've showcased some of this stuff before, but yeah, we're going to have some fun this weekend. But yeah, he likes to tell me and remind me to stay out of my head some days. I think that's the way you put it, right? Yeah, this is is looking a lot better. I mean, but yeah, I'm not drawing on multiple layers again. I mean, or the same layer like I did last time where I was drawing on the one that had the reference. Oh, that was annoying. Yeah, it's definitely like this is going to come down a little bit. So, alright, I'm almost kind of sketching the claws here. That's in the wrong spot though, because they're too high. Okay. I've had the claws already, but I didn't like the way they look on this one. Because if you go back, let's see, they have the claws here. These are correct. Those look right. So I think I might be able to actually use those. But these other ones, yeah, that's just the way that goes. Let me also save real fast, chat, so I don't lose all my work. Some things I do, I have it, and I forget that I don't do it as much when I'm streaming. Line. Yeah, look at the claw. Yeah, claw. Alright. I hate your hand. Some days I just don't like it. Well, maybe a little bit more here. That still doesn't look like. It's like they're going down and they're still in the wrong angle. So I would say let's do some. Maybe if I rotate this thing and actually turn my paper, I'll get it more correct. That's not the one I wanted. Let's go back here. Nope, not the one I wanted. Ah! So this is right. Let's go ahead and try to get these. Ah! So one thing I also saw, too, when I was looking at reference for Wolby here, I saw that some artists had the points for the claws, and then I was looking at some like Art Adams stuff. I have a poster of Art Adams mutants over there on my wall, and he actually did, like, instead of a point, he actually did it like this, where it was like a triangle, you know, or like a straight edge. So, and I saw some other artists doing it that way too, and I'm like, that's easier to do. It's cool looking, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Why would he have like this edge that comes out? Unless it is a mechanic, I don't know. I do like the points, but it does make it a lot more difficult to get that down. So let's go over here. Like I said, I like this one right here and maybe that one, but I think that one may be what's wrong. I don't know, but like this one almost feels like it needs to be up here. And then that one needs to come like right here. And then that one needs to go right there. Something like that. Let's get rid of that background. Ah, my hands. Yeah. See, that looks a little bit better, right? Of course, that hand was bigger than this hand, so that one's wrong. That's great. Alright, let's see what's all on 9. Okay, so I can fix that. Alright. know these claws are way too long too. It's like his claws are longer than his arm. So let's erase all that out. Ah, see? Looks a little bit better. I don't want to erase my nice muscles I did. But I'm gonna do it. Here we go. Shortening again there, chat. It gets you every time. So somewhere in that vein, but more spaced out than what I did. So I erased where I was using. So let's see if we can get that down. A little bit better than what I did. Okay. Not too bad. Again, it's coming along. We're going to stay at it. We're going to keep on doing it here. So, that's all sketches. Let me go ahead and start fixing some of my layers here because I got way too many layers that are named. I'm going to put down claw sketches. Always name your layers, chat, because it's important. I used to not do that. Leg, muscles. Not technically the left arm, but you know. Okay. And what was this? Oh yeah. Even though that would be the left. Oh well, let me do it with the correct thing. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see me. This would be left. This is actually the right, but this is the left side, so how I'll identify in my mind. Also, I'm left-handed, so supposedly I'm in my right mind. It's debatable. Alright, now I want to kind of just see how this is going to look. So we're going to switch to the pen tool for a little while. And even though I'm not really ready for that, I just want to see how it's going to come together. I'm just curious. Alright, we're going to get off this. Go to colorful gel. And I'm just curious to see how it will pan together. Oh, might help if I put it on black and not gray. It's like, man, that sure is light. Oh wow, Photoshop just went crazy. It was like, I don't like it. Ah, nope, didn't want to do that. Now we're gonna have like the nose being torn up there. Ah! Now you know I'm all into it when I'm getting quiet, right? I'm not saying anything. You're getting that, what we like to say, the zone. You know, it doesn't happen very often, you know, but usually when you're in the zone, oh man, you do some really beautiful stuff. Hey, aren't you proud, Silent Joe? Look at me. Getting better and better without that pen tool. What? No comment on that one? Now I'm gonna have to use a pin tool in this part. I just feel path, and that's true. Huh. Not too bad. It's coming along there. Maybe you need to thicken that line out there a little bit. Add some more variance here. But yeah, not too shabby, chat. Not too shabby at all. So I think I'm gonna call it here for the night. Especially in my hand here. And it's almost that time. But again, I'm going to continue on with this. I will probably do a little bit more as I go on and keep you guys as close as I can get one-to-one as I'm going along with it. And we're going to put this together, and hopefully it'll be a fantastic character or whatever as we journey on with Wolverine. As always, my friends, I hope this helped you in some way on your own artistic journey. I always said, like I said earlier, stream, I would love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts about what I'm doing. What's your journeys like? What are things that you are struggling with? Feel free to let me know, because that's what this community is supposed to be about. Helping other artists grow and get better as we go on this journey together. As always, my friends, be good to each other and never stop dreaming. Get out there and do some art today. What are you waiting for?